mga ating iwanan. Please! Ating lilingkuhin, ating babawin, ating tanawin, bagong manasa ay muling tatanawin. Kinabukasan pag-ibayin, pilitin mo gawin. Puspos ang pagsisikap, pag-asa ay yakapin. Edukasyon ang kayamanan kahit di naman. Isang pangarap ang tutupad, pagsisikapan ng lahat. Puspos ang pagsisikap, kaya mo yun, kaibigan. Mabubuo isang pangarap.
The COVID-19 pandemic has brought unprecedented changes to our usual ways of living. But the Department of Education remains unfazed by these challenges to fulfill the mission of Sulong Edukalidad, the rallying call for national effort to deliver quality basic education to all Filipinos, which involve aggressive reforms in the 4 key areas: the K-12 curriculum review and update, improving the learning environment, teachers upskilling and reskilling, and engagement of stakeholders for support and collaboration to move forward together as we prepare the education system for the future. The call for Sulong Edukalidad will continue, and we have built the framework of the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan, or the BELCP, to put the needs of the learners at top priority. DepEd's BELCP is the major response and commitment to protect the health, safety, and well-being of learners, teachers, and personnel. The plan aims to provide opportunities to continue education even in these trying times with a BELCP in place, supported by an unprecedented number of diverse stakeholders from the academe, media, industry groups, NGOs, business and private individuals. Sulong Edukalidad will be able to sustain the aims in its reform for quality basic education. In our journey towards quality education, we have established the 4 pillars of aggressive reforms from the start, and we have been continuing to progress in these pillars. In improving the learning environment, we took action in the construction and rehabilitation of school buildings, ensured the availability of learning materials and equipment, and prioritized our last mile schools. The challenges of the pandemic also brought to light the urgent need to upgrade our ICT infrastructure to service the needs of education. In terms of the teachers upskilling and reskilling, we were able to establish more innovative professional standards for teachers and school heads. We have aligned the professional development of teachers with their career progression to track their development as part of the National Educators Academy of the Philippines transformation. With the launch of the Education Futures program, where we will be focusing on innovative actions and solutions to improve the state of our education, we are now more than ready to start a new journey and continue our fight for quality education for all Filipino learners. Finally, we've given high importance to the engagement of stakeholders for support and collaboration. In support of this, we have convened the Philippine Forum for Accessible Quality Basic Education, or the Education Forum, which will leverage other partnerships for education quality and strengthen partnership with the Philippine Normal University as the country's national center for teacher education. The department has also been developing a professional development program for teachers and school leaders in order to equip them with the skills, materials, and data that will allow them to help their students prepare for PISA 2022. This intervention consists of the following components: online training for teachers and school leaders, development of learning materials and practice tests for students, deepening the analysis of the PISA 2018 results, and supporting school-level action research. Now that the year is about to end, our commitment to sulong edukalidad will continue and will be far from being gone. With a lot at stake, considering our new knowledge and experience from this year's challenges, we are equipped to face a new future. As we head on to the future where we will face many challenges and uncertainties, the department will always be the guardian of every Filipino learner's right to education.
Sino ba ang hindi naapektuhan? Sino ba ang hindi nag-alala? Sino ba ang hindi nalito? Lahat tayo ay naapektuhan. Lahat tayo ay nag-aalala. Lahat tayo ay nalito. Dahil binago ng pandemyang dulot ng COVID-19 ang paraan ng pamumuhay ng lahat ng mga Pilipino saan mang sektor ka nabibilang. Tumigil ang panandalian ang ating mga nakagawian. Tumigil ang lahat ng uri ng transaksyon. Tumigil ang lahat ng operasyon ng mga paaralan. Nakalilito. Nakakaba. Paano na ang kinabukasan ng mga kabataan? Paano na tayo sa hinaharap? Opisyal na nilulunsad ng Kagawaran ng Edukasyon sa pangunguna ng Office of the Undersecretary for Curriculum and Instruction ang DepEd Teaches. Ito ay isang online na programa na gagabay sa mga guro, tagapangasiwa, magulang at mag-aaral hinggil sa mga pagbabago sa batayang edukasyon ngayong new normal. Ang DepEd Teaches ay angkla sa sulong edukalidad na nakatuon sa 4 na pangunahing pangangailangan ng mapunyaging reforma tungo sa makalidad na pagtuturo at pagkatuto. Una, pagre-review at pagsasapanahon ng kurikulum ng K-12. Ikalawa, pagpapaunlad ng kapaligirang pampagkatuto. Ikatlo, paglinang ng mga bagong kasanayan sa mga guro. At ang ikaapat, ang pakikipag-ugnay sa mga stakeholder para sa suporta at kolaborasyon. Sa pamamagitan ng virtual learning platform, ang DepEd Teaches ang magsisilbing bukas na komunidad ng pagsasanay na titipon sa mga guro, tagapamunong pang-edukasyon at sa sinumang may pagnanais sa pagtataguyod ng kalidad na edukasyon sa bansa at sa pagtagumpay ng bawat Pilipinong mag-aaral. Ang mga opisyal, education specialist, learning content expert at outstanding teacher ng DepEd ang magiging tagapanayam na magbabahagi ng kanilang kaalaman at kasanayan sa kurikulum, pagtuturo at pagkatuto, pagtataya at lahat ng kaugnay na mahalaga sa proseso ng pagtuturo at pagkatuto sa new normal. Bilang mga frontliner ng classroom, inaasahang magiging aktibo ang mga guro sa programang ito. Ang mga tema at paksa ay angkop sa kanilang pangangailangan at konteksto sa pamamagitan ng accessible na platform, ang social media. Sumali na sa OUCI family sa DepEd Teaches, kung sama-sama mapahuhusay pa ang mga guro, kung sama-sama higit na malilinang natin ang mga mag-aaral.
The happiest people don't have the best of everything. They just make the happiest of everything. So wishing everyone a happy Thursday afternoon. And welcome back to DepEd Teaches, one of the innovative projects offered by the Curriculum and Instruction Strand, which is open to all educators for continuous professional development. This long series of webinars wouldn't be successful without the constant support and participation of our viewers every Thursday only here on DepEd Teaches. So thank you so much for tuning in right now from our various social media platforms, the DepEd Philippines Facebook page, DepEd Tayo, and DepEd YouTube channel. Today is the continuation of our thematic discussion, teaching and learning in the new normal, regional strategies and initiatives across all learning areas. So hello, Ma'am Anna, how are you? So what kind of exciting learning experience have we prepared today for our viewers?
A pleasant afternoon to everyone. So for the past 2 weeks, we discussed regional strategies and initiatives across learning areas. So we talk about math, science, English, and Filipino. And today we will talk about another equally important subjects that these are Araling Panlipunan at Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao or ESP. So Sir July, thinking about this subject or the topic today, considering the challenges I imagine in teaching Araling Panlipunan during this remote distance learning, is that how do we promote critical thinking, in understanding history, current events, plus the fact that there's only limited number of pages in our module, because before we are used to reading long texts about our history. So now the challenge is how do we ensure that the content is complete, adequate for learners' understanding, and more importantly, how does the content promote critical thinking? Now, Sir July, what do you think are the other challenges that you could think of when it comes to teaching ESP?
Ma'am Anna, perhaps one of the challenges dealt by our teachers like in ESP is the application and transferability of the learning tasks. ESP obviously mirrors real-life applications, and since our present learning modalities, it is limited to gather evidence other than written output on how learners practice and apply the skills, the attitudes, and the values promoted in ESP. So therefore, assessing the application of skills is just one of the many challenges, I guess, all our teachers are dealing with in teaching in the new normal.
I agree with what you said, Sir July. So we identified two so far. So promoting critical thinking, given the limited number of pages or materials that we can provide, plus the application or transferability of the skill, given the limited type of assessment we can gather during this time. But nonetheless, we believe that we're able to find practical ways and strategies to address such challenges. And today, we are blessed that one of the regional representatives from our partners in the field will share with us the strategies they have implemented in teaching Araling Panlipunan at Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao.
But before we proceed to the highlight of the discussion, let's do another schema activation activity. So this time, we will test your familiarity in some approaches or methods of teaching in history and values education. So we will describe the approach and you just need to select the correct answer from the choices. So basically, dear viewers, this is just a multiple choice activity, which makes it easier and faster in identifying your approach or strategy being used in Araling Panlipunan and history and edukasyon sa pagpapakatao. So again, you just need to write the correct answer in the comment section and you are given 30 seconds to guess the correct answer. So Ma'am Anna, perhaps our viewers are ready now for our first item.
All right, so sounds easy because it's just a multiple choice test. So let's see. So for the start, let's have question number 1. This is an abridged variant of case study which is a method of learning how to solve problems and work out solutions by using actual incidents that involve real people in real situations, like, for example, newspaper articles, supply good materials. So again, this is a variant of case study, which is a method of learning how to solve problems and work out solution using actual incidents that involve real people in real situations. So is it A, buzz session, B, controversial and sensitive issues, C, incident process, or D, source analysis? Please write the correct letter or the correct answer for this question. Alright, so let's find out what's the correct answer. I think there's a clue in the question. So the correct answer is B, incident process. I think most of our viewers are able to get the correct answer. So incident process is less formal, less demanding form of case study. The incident process provides an opportunity for learning to structure problems through effective inquiry. The incident process is intended to develop problem-solving skills through a procedure in which knowledge about the problem is revealed only by an active process of inquiry.
All right, so that's a good start, Ma'am Ana. If I may infer, most of the teachers in values education and AP use incidents or scenario to be analyzed by the learners, and teachers can solicit respond from the learners on the causes of such incidents and then reflect on the possible consequences of action in the provided scenario or incidents. All right, so we could now proceed to our second item. So this is an educational intervention that includes reflexive personal, sociocultural, and intercultural processes whereby one seeks to identify the undergrinding or influential value priorities that guides one's interests, choices, actions, and reactions in a variety of interpersonal and social contexts. So again, it's an educational intervention that includes reflexive, personal, sociocultural, and intercultural processes. Okay, and this would provide interest, choices, action, and reaction to our learners in their different contexts. So what do you think is this approach? Is this A, action learning, B, inculcation, C, transpersonal, or D, value clarification? So 30 seconds, start now. All right. I think we can now reveal the correct answer in this item. So the item or the answer we are looking for is letter D, values clarification. Okay, so in value clarification, the values said to be are influenced by family, individual experiences, religious aspects, and society. So individual's value can be defined as what that person holds to be right or good. And value clarification will provide an opportunity for a person to reflect on the personal, moral dilemmas and allow for values to be analyzed and clarified. Strategies such as voting questions, unfinished sentences, values continuum, ranking, agree or disagree are just some of the activities that we can do under value clarification approach. And value clarification in education helps children in decision making, self-exploring, freedom of thought and action, tolerant, and confident.
Wow, that's a good strategy that we can use. And I believe it's not just in ESP, but in other social science subjects, humanities, we can make use of that value clarification approach. You know, when you said about, when you were explaining about value clarification, this reminds me of the saying, it's not hard to make decisions when you know what your values are. Okay, so for the next question, let us show question number 3. This is one of the teaching approaches in values education that enables the students to perceive themselves not merely as passive reactors or as free individuals, but as inner relative members of a social group and system. A, analysis approach, B, commitment approach, C, evocation approach, or D, moral reasoning approach. You have 30 seconds to guess the correct answer. Okay, so let's reveal the correct answer. So the correct answer is B, commitment approach. So in this commitment approach, it enables the students to perceive themselves not merely as passive reactors or as free individuals, but as inner relative members of a social group and system. So under the commitment approach, we consider the action project, which helps to clarify and restructure one's value system and to ascertain the depth of commitment of one's value. So in other words, this approach involves opportunities or provides opportunities and chances for learners to act on their own.
As I remember, Ma'am Anna, the action project you mentioned under the commitment approach is also regarded in some literatures as action learning and community outreach project, where teachers provide students with opportunities and chances to discover and act on their values as member of the community. Thus, as you mentioned, under this approach, the learners will not just be passive reactors, but also they need to interact with other members or other members of the community. Okay, so let's now move on to our last item. So we can now show the card to our viewers. So this is a strategy of understanding in which we take into account another perspectives in addition to our own. For instance, the rule of 3 or more. One view is exclusive, 2 views invite conflict, or 3 or more views allow genuine diversity. So again, this is a strategy wherein we take into account other people's perspective. Is it A, balanced instruction? Letter B, critical perspective? Letter C, multi-perspectivity? Or letter D, singular versus pluralist approach? So dear viewers, 30 seconds start now. All right, so I think we can now reveal the correct answer in this item. And the approach that we are looking here is letter C, multi-perspectivity. So exploring multiple perspectives, which is known as multi-perspectivity in some parts of Europe, it requires incorporating source materials that reflect different views of historical events. In recent decades, scholars and educators have begun to question the validity of singular or one-sided historical narratives. Instead of just focusing on dominant group and communities, they recommend employing multiple perspectives. And one reason for this stems from increasing diversity and cultural pluralism, since many groups, women, the poor, the ethnic minorities, and the like, have been ignored in traditional historical narratives. So what social studies teachers can do is to incorporate primary sources that represent a range of views on historical issue. Then ask students to spend some time thinking about why different groups may see the same event in different ways. And oftentimes, a different story emerges when those multiple perspectives are being put together. And the result is enriched historical understanding. All right, so I hope our priming activity made our viewers recall the approaches in teaching values education and social studies. So at this point now, let us meet our resource speaker who will shed light on the teaching and learning in the new normal, regional strategies and initiatives for Araling Panlipunan and Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao.
Dr. Salustiano T. Jimenez completed his Bachelor of Education as magna cum laude in the University of Visayas. Before he began his journey as an educator, he served as a high school teacher in the same university. Simultaneously, he took up his Bachelor of Laws and graduated in 1994. Recently, he is conferred with a Juris Doctor degree and then a graduate of Master of Arts in Guidance Counseling and also a graduate of Doctor of Education. Having the passion to serve, he joined the Department of Education as a public school teacher in 1996, serving for a few years before rising from the ranks and becoming head teacher in 2002 and principal in 2005. The following year, he became the education program supervisor for private schools in the division of Cebu City. He was subsequently promoted to be Assistant Schools Division Superintendent in the same division in 2008. After 4 years, he was appointed as the Schools Division Superintendent in the Division of Negros Oriental in 2012.
Following 4 years of service as SDS of the Division of Negros Oriental, he became the OIC Assistant Regional Director of the Negros Island Region or NIR. And after a year, he was transferred back to Region 7 as Assistant Regional Director before becoming the OIC Regional Director from July 1, 2019 up to February of 2011. And he was appointed a full-fledged regional director on February 17, 2021, the youngest regional director in DepEd Region 7. So let's put our hands together for our esteemed resource speaker, Dr. Salustiano T. Jimenez.
Good day, fellow educators, and to everyone. I hope that we are all in perfect shape and in perfect fit of health while watching this episode. It is indeed a global understanding that COVID-19 pandemic has challenged all sectors, and unfortunately, the education sector, where we are thriving in various dynamics, has never been spared of this. As the Secretary Leonor Mamliling Magtolis Briones of the Department of Education mentioned when the Philippines was at the height of this pandemic, highlighted, and I quote, "Education must continue even in this difficult situation." COVID-19 pandemic has made us re-examine what we used to accept as normal indeed. For students, teachers, stakeholders, school leaders, and managers, this is an important opportunity to recognize that what we have considered normal is not inevitable, but it is a choice, a result of our decisions. What does the possibility mean for the futures of the frequently ever-changing highways of education? The truth of the matter is that this pandemic coexists with us and will never bid its adieu. Whether we like it or not, we have to keep on moving, paddling our respective enthusiasm to reach the goal. This could be done through designing developmentally appropriate and pandemic resilient strategies and interventions to better counter its ill effects and find ways to mitigate possible negative impact. In this episode, we will continue to delve on how teaching and learning in the new normal are being boxed and scooped in various standpoints. Let us now put on the spotlight the strategies and initiatives of the Department of Education Regional Office 7 when it comes to our response of the seemingly difficult circumstance that has shocked the world and seemed to hold our used to be normal activities in the department, and moreover, challenge not only the teaching learning engagements, but also the technological, pedagogical, and social dimensions of learning and how we manage to successfully hurdle those challenges and rise up to shout our triumph. So let me direct your focus on these learning areas: Araling Panlipunan, AP or Social Studies, and Edukasyong Pagpapakatao, ESP or Values Education. These two learning areas are of equal footing to the rest of the curricular areas in terms of their contribution to the total well-being of every learner, requisite of becoming a global learner. armed with competence, passion, dedication, and above all the mantra of DepEd Region 7, sa 7, una ang bata perme. This has enlivened internal and external stakeholders to continuously support and be proactive to whatever man-made or natural phenomenon that would try to derail the goals. In line with this, we consider still the 4 pillars of aggressive reforms in education, of which we do activities relative to reviewing and updating the K-12 curriculum for it to be responsive to the situation through the following. First, conducted curriculum mapping on the different topics to be integrated in AP and ASP, self-learning modules, or SLMs, that are aligned to the most essential learning competencies, MELCs, and as an offshoot of it, we managed to contextualize the MELCs with a list of topics for integrations such as local history, celebrations, sexuality education, Filipino values, and DepEd core values. Second, spearheaded in the contextualization and quality assurance of the self-learning modules, the SLMs of these learning areas in the first K stage across quarters. Developed AP and ESP SLMs for senior high school on the following subjects: disciplines and ideas in the social sciences, or DISS, disciplines and ideas in the applied social sciences, or DIASS, humanities, social sciences, and of course, personality development. Then third, initiated the development of career guidance campaign materials for grades 10 to 12. So all these are made available in the offline repository of quality assured learning materials. Fourth, develop career guidance campaign materials and during conference with parents and learners in various learning delivery modalities. We have the radio-based, TV-based, recorded video lessons, or the RVL, modular, also we have online. No? So, fifth is that we conducted constant follow-up through various platforms to all schools division offices on the implementation of comprehensive sexuality education in these subjects. Sixth, develop MELC-based test items which underwent quality assurance with the pool of experts in the field and LRMDS personnel across the 19 schools division offices in DepEd Region 7 Central Visayas. So these test items are now available for uploading on the portal once the last phase of QA or quality assurance be made. Seventh, manage the reduction in the number of assessment activity sheets based on Department Order 31 series of 2021, in which quarterly assessment results with analysis and recommendations which are available for policy recommendation. So this also paved the way in the development and adoption of the Regional Inspection and Corrective Action Initiative, or RICA tool. DepEd Region 7 also spearheaded activities relative to the second pillar of aggressive reform, which is on the improvement of learning environment, concentrating on the development of learning resources, its delivery and monitoring. One, conducted regular online monitoring on the delivery of instruction in Araling Panlipunan, AP, Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao, ASP, Homeroom Guidance, HG, and Career Guidance, CG. Second, monitor the distribution of SLMs through the AP and ESP, Division Education Program Supervisors, Career Guidance, and Homeroom Guidance Group Chat. Third, manage the development of the supplementary materials in disciplines and ideas in the social sciences, or DISS. Disciplines and ideas in the applied social sciences, or DIASS, and local history materials for National Quincentennial Celebration, Victory of Mactan. Aside from those we have before, even before the pandemic, and we are utilizing them, like the stories and legends of different places in Central Visayas. We call it SAL, or Stories and Legends in Central Visayas. So all the schools were able to come up with a video of the story of the history of the place and why the place is named as such. And also have these following activities. One, spearheaded the conduct of webinars and virtual conferences in AP and ESP relative to the implementation of comprehensive sexuality education in the collaboration and strong partnership with the government agencies such as Commission on Population, PAPCOM, and others. This is perhaps one of the brighter outcomes of this pandemic, that facilitators of learning have been exposed to the utilization of various online platforms whose competence of it improves dramatically as compared to the times when COVID-19 causing pandemic has not yet intruded in their pedagogic minds. So, second, it steered the conduct of webinar and virtual conference in the implementation of Araling Panlipunan, AP, Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao, Homeroom Guidance, and Career Guidance, embedding write-shops leading to the development of contextualized materials across grade levels, which are all aligned with the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan, or our BELCP. Third, conducted webinars and virtual conferences aligned with the BLCP relative to the implementation of Araling Panlipunan, AP, Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao, or ASP, the Homeroom Guidance, HG, or Career Guidance, CG. For the engagement of stakeholders for support and collaboration, this got heightened, and spirit of bayanihan is on its high definition and escalated it to a higher level, especially during the conduct of activities which necessarily calls for their support. One is that we hosted the National Virtual Symposium on the Victory of Mactan, where all schools conducted a simultaneous flag-raising ceremony during this activity with the involvement of the local government units, or our LGU partners. Second, initiated Project Sibya Bisaya on local history in partnership with Ramon Abuetes Foundation Incorporated, or RAFI. So these are the strategies and initiatives of DepEd Region 7 in response to the teaching learning in the new normal. So this got materialized because of the dynamic support of the following: the DepEd Regional Office personnel, the schools division superintendents of the 19 schools division offices in Central Visayas, Assistant Schools Division Superintendents, our CID and SDOD chiefs, our division education program supervisors, public schools district supervisors, the school heads, our teachers, and external stakeholders. And with that, Region 7, specifically Cebu City, was once bannered in local and national paper and other forms of communication channels for being named once as the epicenter of the COVID-19 pandemic sometime in 2020. Despite this, the DepEd Region 7 remains sturdy in its commitment to provide quality basic education in various learning delivery modalities to the real clientele in education, the learners. So these summed up and working in adherence to the mantra of DepEd Region 7, sa 7, una ang bata permi. So this is Dr. Salustiano T. Jimenez, DepEd Region 7 Regional Director, leaving you with the maxim of Martin Luther King Jr., and I quote, "The ultimate measures of a man is not where he stands in his moments of comforts and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenges and controversy." So maayong adlaw na tong tanan, o God bless everyone.
So thank you so much, Director Salustiano Jimenez, for a complete, naturalistic, and vividly logical presentation. And thank you for sharing your regional initiatives in the delivery of instruction for ESP and AP, from the analysis of the most essential learning competencies to module development with appropriate integrations and contextualizations, to assessment of learning, as well as forging partnerships and collaborations with your stakeholders for your programs related to Araling Panlipunan and Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao. I know our viewers would also apply the same strategies you mentioned in their local context. So once again, thank you so much, Director Jimenez. And so to our live audience on DepEd Teaches Facebook page and the rest of the social media platforms, don't forget to share your insights and comments using the hashtag I support DepEd Teaches and hashtag DepEd Teaches episode 45. You can also share your selfie post while you were listening in today's presentation, and we really love to hear all your feedback.
Thank you so much again, Director Salustiano Jimenez. So just a few reminders. This is the third entry under the theme Teaching and Learning the New Normal, Strategies and Initiatives Across All Learning Areas. Don't forget to register, so you'll be qualified to get the certificate of participation. If you need a recap, just visit our official Facebook page, DepEd Teaches. Once again, teachers, thank you so much for tuning here, and we hope to see you again next week.
On behalf of the Curriculum and Instruction Strand, thank you so much for your constant support, and may we always find time to take part in this kind of professional engagement, for an investment in education always pays the best interest. Hence, in DepEd Teaches, we invest in your professional development and professional learning experiences. For our mission is empowering teachers, enabling learners. A blessed afternoon, everyone.